All right. I already top stitched this piece of fabric. If you want to take a look, the one on the right was back stitched. The one on the left, I just sewed off the edge and didn't trim it yet. You can see how on the back stitch one, I didn't quite line up on the back stitch. So it looks awful. Normally you don't back stitch this far, but if you do, it won't be covered if you sew this into another seam. Now what you can do to make a back stitch tie off a little better is take that end that's sticking out of the back stitch, get out your needle, thread the extra end that's on top, the right side of the fabric, and you can send that to the back. And you can tie that off and make it look a little bit better. Just a simple over, under, or knot. Once, twice, now you still have thread ends. What some people do is just trim them. If you're making like the inside of an unlined jacket and you don't want thread ends hanging around, what you can do is to take your thread ends, thread both of them in a needle, and then bury them in the seam. What you do is try and catch it between the two layers of fabric inside the seam. Go down a ways, poke back out, pull through, and then pull kind of tightly to bunch the fabric up just a little bit and trim as close as you can. And then when you pull the fabric flat, you see your knot end, but you don't see any tail ends. Now you do the same thing on this end of the top stitch. Instead of back stitching, I just left it. I'm going to take the top one, thread it through a needle. Try and send it through the previous stitch hole so it looks nice and finished. Pull it a little tight. See how you just have the one stitch that's a double back stitch? Then you go to the wrong side of the fabric. You want to make sure you pull it kind of taut so the stitch on the other side is tight. Over, under. Over, under. And then you take your two tail ends, thread them through a needle. You're probably thinking, this is a lot of work for a shirt or a pair of pants, shorts, jacket. Well, if your garment's going to last you a couple of years, 5 years, 10 years, whether or not it takes you 2 hours to make a shirt, or 3 hours to make a shirt, or 4 hours to make a shirt, you want a professional looking shirt that'll last as long as possible and look as good as possible. So taking a couple extra minutes to do this and to do that isn't that much work. Then try and get as close as you can to the stitch, but inside the seam. Make sure you don't go to the front of the fabric. And you'll figure it out when you get it through there, you're not poking through to the front. Go down a ways, come back out. And I got this one twisted up a little bit. Of course, it always happens on live video, so there you go. It's live video for you. Got one of them pulled through. Got the other one pulled through. Then you trim them to the fabric. Now if you look at the front, the one on the right was backstitched. The one on the left was pulled through the back and tied. Then as you can see, even on the back, on both of them, I tied the thread ends and then needled them back through the seam so you have no tail ends flapping around.